Hello, hello. Welcome to another video here on my YouTube channel. Today, we're going to be talking about my top 3 favorite raw food things to eat in the winter. So let's dig in. Thank you so much for joining me today for this video. I'm excited to share my top 3 favorite things to eat in the winter as a raw vegan. But before we begin, please check out our ebooks. All of our recipe ebooks are 40% off with code RAWFOOD40. The link is in the description box below. We also have an online meal planning app, which is $5 a month or $50 a year to access. It generates a weekly 5-day meal plan and grocery list. It's a really great place to help you meal plan. And then we also have the new Raw Food Romance online community, which is where all the action is happening. All the fun is going on over there. We've got monthly live raw food classes with Nate and I. We've got the monthly challenges. There's support in there. You can watch all the past replays as well. So the 3-hour wrap class, the 3-hour sushi class, the taco class, all of that is available for you to rewatch. And when you join, you can attend any of the new classes that we do live with you on the calendar. So join in. All the links for all the goodies is in the description box below. So let's chat about my top 3 favorite winter meals. I'm going to share a recipe with you as well here for one of my favorites is the soups. Soups, stews, curries, and chilies. And yes, you can have these on a raw diet, just, heated up to about 115 degrees Fahrenheit. And you can do that by using a mix of the dehydrator and the Vitamix. So a high-speed blender works as well. I believe Blendtec does. So do other blenders that are high speed. The friction of the blades actually warms up the soup base. So the key is to have a mix of the chunky part of the soup and the soup base, like the liquidy part. You could do a straight up liquid soup if you want, like a cream of tomato, for example, or you could do a chunky soup. One of my absolute favorite soups of all time is my mango apricot soup. And this is a really easy one to make. It's a great one to make in the winter because it's nice and warm. One of the tips that I will share before I share the recipe is if you want to keep your soup warm up a ceramic bowl in the dehydrator before you pour your soup into it. If you're using a regular bowl or a ceramic bowl that is cold, then your soup is going to cool down a lot faster than if the bowl is warm already. So what I like to do is when I'm marinating the chunky portion of the soup, I also put the ceramic bowl in the dehydrator so it can warm up as well. It does get a little hot, so I like to take it out for a little bit before I make the soup. So just test and see how hot that bowl gets, but you don't want it to be scalding. You just want it to be warm to the touch. So play around with that. It's usually around 15 or 20 minutes that I'll put it in there right before the meal, and then I take it out and let it cool before I pour the soup in there. And it keeps the soup nice and warm. We don't need to eat cold soup. If you want to eat cold soup, you can eat cold soup in the summertime. But in the wintertime, many of you want something a little bit warmer. So this is a great way to do so. So here is how we make the apricot mango soup. And this recipe is available in the soup book. You can get 77 different soups, stews, curries, and chilies in the soup book. 40% off code is RAWFOOD40 at checkout. Link for the PayHip store is in the description box below. The recipe is also up in the community. We have other soup recipes up there like the lemon Lebanese style soup. That is one of our favorite soups as well. So there are options in there. The chili is available up in there. There's a bunch of different recipes. So join the community as well because we do love to share new recipes. And I'll be sharing new soup recipes. I have a couple ideas that I'm going to be sharing in the community as well. There are also soup recipes in the app too at rawfoodromance.com. So go join that too if you want. But we've got soup recipes all over the place. But this one here, so what we like to do is we like to create the chunky portion first. And I normally do this about an hour and a half before mealtime. So I'll chop up things for the chunky portion. I'm just going to read off the chunky portion that we like to do for this soup. It's 1 cup diced cherry tomatoes, a quarter cup minced red onion, half of a red bell pepper diced, half a cup of fresh or frozen peas. You can freeze peas from fresh, like we get freshly shelled ones from Whole Foods. And then when we get home, we just put them in the freezer. And then when they thaw, they're a lot softer and they're really great in this soup. And half a cup of fresh or frozen asparagus pieces. Same deal. We buy asparagus fresh, we chop it up and put it in the freezer so that when they thaw, they are a lot softer. So we use those as the chunky ingredients. And what we like to do is take those ingredients, the frozen ones we thaw, and then we put them in the dehydrator for probably about an hour or so they soften. Then we make the soup base. And the soup base we make probably about 5 minutes before mealtime, so it's nice and warm. And everything's still in the dehydrator. They're just kind of drying a little bit. The soup base is 5 pitted medjool dates, 5 dried apricot pieces, 2 cloves of garlic, half of the red bell pepper, the other half from the chunky part, half of a jalapeno, and you can take the seeds out if you don't want it to be as spicy, 1 Roma tomato, 1 cup of mango. You could use frozen mango here if you want, 1 tablespoon of miso paste, 1 teaspoon apple cider vinegar, 1 teaspoon onion powder, 1/8 of a teaspoon chili powder, and 2 cups of water. So the water is going to give it that soupiness. So what you want to do when you are ready to eat, you blend up that soup base on high speed for about 2 minutes. Now, it'll get warm to the touch. You don't want it to be scalding hot because we don't want to be cooking this. We want it to be, a nice warm temperature that you can put your hand in and you're not going to burn yourself. So it's around 2 minutes or so in the high-speed blender. Once that is blended up, then we take out the ingredients out of the dehydrator, put them in our bowl. We pour the soup base on top and we stir it up, and then we portion them out into our warm bowls from the dehydrator, the ceramic bowls that I mentioned earlier. This soup is amazing and it's super easy to make. You can even put a hot chili pepper in there if you want it nice and extra spicy, because adding more spices can actually help to stimulate your circulation, which is really beneficial during the winter months. You could also add a little bit of rosemary, which is also an herb that is known to stimulate circulation as well. So that can help stay warm during the winter. So if you like this recipe, please click like on the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Grab the soup book if you want more recipes like this, or join the community. We have some soups in there as well. Those are all options for you too. We love doing these in the winter because it's really helpful to have something a little bit warm and cozy. The second thing that we like to make during the colder months, and we make this during the warm months as well, because it's so good, is marinated veggies on cucumber noodles. And so 2 tricks that I want to mention for this is it's warm because the marinated vegetables are coming out of the dehydrator, so they're warmer, but not cooked. And then for the cucumber noodles or zucchini noodles, if you want to do zucchini, we prefer cucumber, but whatever, it doesn't matter, either or works. You want to take those out of the refrigerator about an hour before you make dinner. So while you are chopping all of the vegetables to be in the dehydrator for the marinated part, take your cucumber or zucchinis out of the fridge. That way they will be closer to room temperature when you spiralize them ready for dinner. So you're not eating cold cucumbers with your warm stuff from the dehydrator. You're eating room temperature cucumbers, so they're not going to be super cold when you're eating them. So that's a big bonus tip. So what we like to do for these is we create a sauce. You can use any sauce you want. You can use the French dressing. You can use a creamy dressing. You can use coconut aminos and lemon juice and spices. You can use any sauce that you want for this recipe. A date-based one is very beneficial because you get more calories that way. What we like to do is chop up a variety of different vegetables that we want to marinate. Mainly we use mushrooms, onions, carrots, celery, broccoli, or massaged kale works really well in here, carrots, all kinds of vegetables. Bell peppers we love as well. Bell peppers are one of the top ones we put in too. So we chop all of those up into pieces, sliced, whatever shape you want it in, and then we mix it in the sauce. Then we transfer the saucy vegetables to the dehydrator and we let it dehydrate for about an hour and a half at 115 degrees Fahrenheit. Once those are ready, we spiralize our cucumber or zucchini. We put that in the bottom of a warmed bowl. Again, you can use a warmed bowl. You don't want it super hot, just warm to the touch. And then we put the dehydrated vegetables on top of the cucumber noodles or zucchini noodles. And then that becomes kind of like a stir fry, sort of like noodly dish, which is really cool. And we like to add like ginger and garlic and have some kind of like a stir fry flavor. So that's our second favorite thing that we like to eat in the winter time. And the third thing, I bet everyone can know what this is. It doesn't matter if it's winter or summer or spring or fall. This is one of our favorite things to eat all times throughout the whole year, is the wraps. Of course, is the wraps. And I have one right here that I'm going to share. Check it out. So we made these yesterday. This is going to be my lunch for today. And here we go. Check it out. Ooh, nice and soft. Nice and soft. And it rips just like a regular wrap. Like, they're so good and they're chewy and they're delicious. And we put all kinds of wonderful vegetables in here. Oh, yes. We've got some cashew cheese in there. We have lettuce, radicchio. We've got some carrot and cabbage and red onion. And we have microgreens in here too. We added a whole bunch of microgreens. And then we have a sauce. So what we do, we don't usually add sauce to the wrap inside as we're filling it. If we're eating it right away, we will. But if we're saving it for the next day, like we did with this one, we don't put the sauce in because we're not huge fans of soggy wraps. And just like regular wraps, they get soggy when there's soggy ingredients in there. So things like tomatoes, cucumbers, maybe raw fermented pickles or sauerkraut or any ferments, those things we only usually add if we're making the wrap and then eating it right away. But if we're making it for the next day, we just skip those and we keep with the drier ingredients like lettuces, cabbage, grated carrots, and that kind of thing. So it keeps it from getting super soggy and not being as appetizing. Just like a regular wrap. Again, it's just like a regular wrap. Not very much different, except the ingredients are produce. So what we do is we take a sauce. This is the Divine Lime sauce. The recipe is available in Meal Plan Volume 3 from our ebook store at payhip.com/rawfoodromance. Again, 40% off any of our ebooks, code rawfood40. But it's also up in the community. This was one of the very first recipes that I put in the community, and so many people are loving it. They are absolutely loving it. So I highly recommend trying this one. It's a great wrap sauce. And what we do is we just put it on the wrap for each bite. So every bite, we put on more sauce. And we found that this is the funnest, best way to eat the wraps. It's just to have sauce for every bite, right? Because the reason we call these a hand salad is because you're actually eating a salad with your hands. The wrap is made from produce like onions and dates and carrots. So all like they're made with salad ingredients, greens even. Some of them are made with greens. So this is basically your salad dressing on your hand salad. So yes, this will be my lunch. I'm very excited to dig right into that. But that would be our other, I would just say top choice for winter, because it's really our top choice for all time is the wraps. So that we eat often during the winter. And another thing too is we take it out of the fridge and let it warm up to room temperature if needed. Otherwise, we just eat it fresh right out of the fridge and we enjoy. It's so delicious. So yeah, those are some of our favorite things to eat during the winter. All of the recipes can be found within our ebooks. The wraps are in the hand salads ebook. The soups are in the soup ebook. And the marinated vegetables, we have a recipe for the ramen in Meal Plan 2. There's also a recipe for the barbecue craze, which is a very similar recipe in Meal Plan Volume 3. But really, you can use any sauce you want. You could make like a coconut curry sauce. You could make a date ginger sesame sauce or whatever you want to put as the sauce, and then you can just marinate them in the dehydrator and it makes for a really, really nice satiating meal in the winter. And just quickly before I sign off today, thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. But I wanted to end with, for those who feel like they're feeling cold more often in the winter, some tips can be to increase your spice intake and your circulation herb intake, like cinnamon, ginger, rosemary. Those kinds of things can help stimulate circulation, along with all the hot spices, obviously, like cayenne and all the other spices. So doing that can help to increase circulation, moving your body more. Like if you're feeling chilly, get up and do 50 squats. You'll warm up. Do some jumping jacks or jump on the trampoline or go for a brisk walk. Those kinds of things can help to increase circulation as well, especially in the wintertime when we tend to sit around a lot more because there's not so much to do like it is in the summertime. So we can get colder a little faster. But I would have to say the number one thing that can help in the wintertime is to eat enough calories. So in the wintertime, sometimes we need a little bit extra calories, a couple hundred calories to help our furnace, because we're burning more calories to stay warmer. So we do need to make sure that we eat enough. If we're not eating enough, the body can downregulate metabolism. We can feel colder more often. So it's super, super important to make sure that you fuel yourself up properly with adequate calories so that you can feel more warm, because your furnace is working properly. It's got all the fuel that it needs. I noticed for myself back in the day, it didn't matter how many cooked meals I ate, I would still be cold if I was calorie restricting. So if you're calorie restricting or you're not eating enough and you're skipping meals, your body is going to downregulate the metabolism so that you will feel colder more often. So make sure that you eat. One of the number one reasons why people struggle on a raw diet is not eating enough, and this can cause people to feel more cold more often. So even in the summertime, when I was eating cooked food, if I was calorie restricting, I was cold. My nose was cold, my ears were cold, my fingers were cold. I don't feel that anymore because I eat enough calories to compensate for my BMR, my bare minimum requirement of what I like to call it, plus activity. So plus your exercise, work, talking, moving, making food, hanging out with your kids, going for hikes and walks, running errands. All of those things take energy. And if we are not compensating for that energy, then our body struggles. So make sure that you eat enough, get those spices in, try some raw soups, have some fun, take the food out of the fridge so it's not ice cold when you're making a salad. Just let it come to room temperature, and that should be really helpful as well. So hope you enjoyed this video. Hope to help someone out there. And if you want, please join our community. If you're looking for support, if you want to join our live raw food classes once a month, if you want to watch all the replays from past live classes, like the wrap class, the sushi class, the taco class, you can do so by joining the Raw Food Romance online community. Link is in the description box below to join. You can also get 40% off any or all of our raw vegan recipe ebooks with code RAWFOOD40 at checkout from our PayHip store, payhip.com/rawfoodromance. Or you can check out the app at rawfoodromance.com. It's a meal planning app that generates a meal plan, 5-day meal plan every week. You can add day 6 and 7 and also gives you a shopping list for everything that is in the meal plan. So check out all the goodies. Links are in the description box below, and we'll be back for another video tomorrow. I love you all so much, and fruit on.